Welcome to Gunz and Bunz, the first college broadcasted fitness show in the country. I'm Catherine Aguilo.
And I'm Eric Bowe, and this is Gunz and Bunz.
Today on Gunz and Bunz, we have a very special guest, John Mollahan.
We also have personal training session with Maura and Marilyn.
So keep it locked here on PSTV.
PSTV makes everyone happy. Happier than when Tommy wins the lottery. Tonight's winning lotto numbers are 33, 17, 5, 4. When Anthony's roommates don't come home. When Brooke antiques somebody.
Everyone's happier watching PSTV.
Get happy, get PSTV.
Campus Channel 10, Charter 17.
Hi everyone, welcome to Gunz and Bunz this week. I'm Maura, we're so excited to have you here. This week we have a very special episode. It's going to be a little different than our last few, called Healthy You. We're going to be throwing out some nice tips on how to stay healthy while you're working out and living healthy too. At the end of our show we'll have a nice little food segment. But right now we're joined by John Mollahan. He is a Plattsburgh native and an Olympic doctor. John, thank you so much for being on the show this week.
My pleasure.
We're excited to have you. So a little background, you are Bike New Zealand's doctor.
Yes.
You went with them to the 2012 Summer Olympics in London, and simultaneously you work with the U.S. bobsledding team, right?
Yes. Well, long story, a little about my background. I'm born and raised here in Plattsburgh. Graduated from Plattsburgh High School. Got my undergrad degree in exercise science from Ithaca College. Got my certified strength and conditioning specialist certification back in like 2000. And then went to chiropractic school out at Northwestern in Minneapolis. Always have had an interest in sports. So yeah, I started working with the bobsled team, kind of just consulting for them back in 2005. Started just working with them mainly at the Lake Placid Olympic Training Center. They'd call me up when athletes wanted to get some work done or some chiropractic stuff, and I'd travel up once or twice a week and help them there, and it worked out so well. They ended up traveling with them. So I'd go out to Canada, Park City, Calgary, and then eventually internationally, covering some of their World Cup events through Europe. So yeah, you're basically on the road for a week to 2 or 3 weeks, long hours. You know, you're working on them in the hotel room and this and that, and then at the track as part of their warm-up. So yeah, that's really. In fact, this past year was the first season I haven't traveled with them since 2005, but I have covered, I think, their last 5 World Championship events. Yeah, the Bike New Zealand thing came about a year and a half ago, and yeah, they asked me to be. I'd worked with them a few times here in the States for training camps in Pennsylvania they've had, built a relationship with them, and a year out of the Olympics this past summer, they were looking to kind of solidify their sports meds team. And they requested if I would cover all their World Cup events basically for the year before the Olympics leading right up through the games. So yeah, I worked
you were
with
there for the whole time.
Yeah, I was still based here in Plattsburgh, but I would fly out. So I was gone like 2 weeks a year ago, November, to Cali, Colombia for World Cup race, then back to Plattsburgh. Then I was gone almost a month to New Zealand and Australia for a training camp in their World Champs, and then back here to Plattsburgh. And then I left in early June for Europe with them, and basically had multiple training camps building up to the Olympics toward the end of July. So it was basically a week or 2 in Wales, a month in Spain, 3 weeks, 2 weeks in Bordeaux, France, and then 3 weeks in the Olympic Village with them. It was great.
That's the way to see Europe too.
Yeah. Although not a lot of free time, a half day here or there for sightseeing, but usually pretty busy.
So. You're talking about working on such an amazing elite level. Do you have any kind of favorite moments or any athletes that really touched your heart?
Yeah, 2 stand out, but with both sports. The bobsled team winning the World Championships two seasons ago.
Okay.
It was on our home track up in Lake Placid.
Yeah.
So they won 2-man and 4-man gold in the World Champs. That was nice to see, since I've known some of those guys for going on 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah.
But probably even a little better was this summer at the Olympics. We had one of my athletes win a bronze that I worked with, bronze medal, and our sprint cycling team got 5th, which was outstanding, 5th in the world at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And there's not a one of them over 23 years old, so they're very, very young. So 4 years from now, they're going to be a threat. Yeah.
Do you think you'll be back with them?
Yeah, I'd love to
hope
be.
so.
It's a weird world.
Yeah, you
Sport,
never
things
know.
change so much,
You never
contracts,
know.
how much budget they have for different people, but I hope so.
Yeah. Well, we'll be looking for you.
All right, thanks.
But, so you're working with these Olympians. Simultaneously, you also teach local running classes, and you coach your son's sports teams. How has that challenged you, working with athletes at all fitness levels?
Challenges me very much.
Yeah.
My son's 8, so it was basically 3rd and 4th graders boys basketball was my first foray into coaching. And this was also my first attempt. I was asked to run the half marathon training class once a week for 13 weeks leading up to the Plattsburgh half marathon that just was yesterday.
Okay.
I'm not a patient man. I never have been. So the challenge for me is when you work with the high level athletes, they are 99% of the time self-motivated.
Right.
All they want to do, I almost have to spend more time keeping them from doing too much.
Okay.
They want to know everything they can do. If they're injured, tell me 100 things I can do to make me get better quicker.
Yeah.
In the weight room, what else can I be doing? Sometimes with kids and local kind of just age groupers, sometimes motivation is the missing link.
That's what you're coaching.
And so the patience is dealing with people that don't want to do the work I'm telling them to do, or hemming and hawing a little bit about, oh, do I have to do this run this week? And so it's two opposite ends of the scale. It's probably the biggest challenge.
Yes. The way you're working
Calming the big athletes and getting the younger kids and local athletes fired up. So.
And you were saying a little bit about your professional athletes. They just want to keep going.
Yep.
And one of the things we were talking about earlier is that you're seeing a lot of overuse injuries in athletes of all ages, whether, maybe it is from doing too much, but is there a certain pattern you're seeing that's leading to these?
Yeah, there's a couple things real quickly. In the younger kids, which is obviously more concerning to me, seeing these kids in middle school and certainly right up through high school with these huge percentages of overuse injuries that I never even used to see when I first started practicing back in 2000. And a lot of experts agree with me on this. And one of the leading reasons and theories is the sport specialization. These kids are playing one sport now year round. Around here, it's either hockey or soccer typically. When I was growing up around here, I couldn't imagine playing one sport year round. I was so ready for the next sport. But we also didn't have the opportunity to play soccer. We didn't have an indoor facility. We didn't have an indoor track where we could do cross-country, indoor track, and outdoor track like they can now. Really, when I was a kid, hockey was the only sport you could, in theory, play most of the year. But it's just not good. And every expert agrees you need multiple sports, training, different muscles, different strengths, different coordination, motor patterns, and everything else. So that's the primary with the kids.
Okay.
With the adult kind of age group, and when we're talking runners, just with this Plattsburgh half marathon, it basically falls into two categories of errors. One is, I guess you could call them technique errors.
Okay.
Common problems, most people overstride when they run. Their stride is too long, increases impact forces, these big banging, heel landings, a lot of force transmitted up the spine.
Okay.
Too much vertical motion when they run, bouncing up and down, wasted energy. Stuff like swinging their arms across their body, again, wasted energy. So there's literally dozens of these technique errors, crossing your stride over instead of landing with your feet directly underneath you. Kind of like you're running on a balance beam. So all those are exactly. All those would lump together under technique errors. And the other major problem are programming errors, meaning their training programs just aren't well designed. They're reading a program from one of these elite athletes that are running 60, 70, 90 miles a week, and trying to do that as a relative newcomer is not a wise move. No, and they just overcomplicate, and most people run too much. Too many times a week and too much volume and not enough intensity.
So for your beginner runners, how much do you recommend them running? How
3
many
times
days?
a week.
3 times a week. And how intense?
Well, and that's the difference. The major
Okay.
error most people must make is that they do all of their runs at roughly the same intensity. They just go out and run. And for most people, it ends up being somewhere in that kind of 70 to 75% of max effort.
Okay.
And the problem with that effort is it's not hard enough to really provide a training stimulus, but it's too hard to provide any kind of recovery. So you're constantly breaking your body down, not really training yourself efficiently, and not allowing yourself to recover.
So it's a lose-lose.
Yes, and so really you have to be at opposite ends of the scales. In other words, most people's easy runs are not slow enough, and their hard runs aren't hard enough.
Okay.
Essentially, as I told my class these last 12 or 13 weeks, is when it boils down to it, there's only 3 types of runs. And I don't care if you're an Olympic 1,500-meter runner or someone trying to do their first 5K. There's 3 types of runs. It's your long, slow run, which varies depending on the race you're training for. There's some sort of a tempo run, kind of at race pace to try to build your body's kind of lactate threshold and test yourself. And the third type of run is simply either intervals, speed intervals, or hills.
Okay.
And I tend, with my programming, alternate those from week to week. So maybe Tuesdays you do 400 or 800 meter intervals hard, or hill repeats, 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half hill repeats. Thursdays might be your tempo run, and then the weekends are for your long, easy run. That's it. I mean, everything else is kind of fluff and filler. And a lot of these programs, these even beginner programs, have them doing an easy 3 to 5 mile run 2 or 3 additional times a week. When most runners are much better off in the weight room or cross training on those off days and just staying with 3 or 4 runs a week, but 3 or 4 key runs a week.
Okay. So it's kind of the overthinking the running part and not thinking about the weight training and the cross training at all.
No, and with endurance athletes, and it still is a problem even at the Olympic level, they're so brainwashed over the years that endurance, I don't want to bulk up by lifting weights. It's baloney. You're most of these, especially these real good or high level endurance athletes are twigs. They don't have to worry about becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger because they go to the gym twice a week.
It's just not going to happen.
No, and now finally over the last 5 to 10 years, there is just dozens and dozens and dozens of studies that finally show strength training improves endurance. Forget about improving strength, which it obviously does, but it improves endurance without even training endurance. And so that's one factor. It's going to improve your performance as an endurance athlete, and even if you're a local 5K runner, it's going to improve. But it's also going to improve body composition. It's going to make you leaner and therefore lighter, which makes you faster.
This is the goal.
And thirdly, and maybe most importantly, particularly for middle-aged and up runners, is it makes you more resistant to injury. A stronger body is not going to break down as easy. So
it's finding that balance for each person. It's going to be different for each runner.
And I don't know many people, even the people that like running 5, 6, 7 days a week. I don't. I mean, I've done a few Ironmans. I've done a few ultra 50-mile trail runs, and some of the Spartan races and things like that I enjoy now. I've never run more than 3 days a week.
Wow.
Ever, even doing Ironman. It was 3 runs a week, and then 2 or 3 bikes a week in the weight room.
So it doesn't get old.
No,
it still feels fresh.
Yeah, keeps you fresh, something different. Yep.
So back to you for a little bit. You've accomplished so much as far as your athletic accomplishments, the events you've been to. What's next? Do you have any goals that you're hoping to achieve? Anything to cross off the bucket list?
Sports-wise or professionally?
Anything.
Professionally, just being a cyclist. One thing I've always wanted to I'd love to work the Tour de France. Most of these teams have kind of a Team Cairo that travels with them, but it's I think once they get that gig, they don't turn over very much. So that's one thing I'd love to do. Personally, sports-wise, not really. I did a lot last year, but I seem to have a bit of a talent as a rapidly aging person for these obstacle races. I'm not fast enough to keep up with like a pure 5K or 10K runner. I don't have that kind of speed, but you start throwing like mud pits and walls and some strength into it, it evens things out a little bit. So probably do a bunch of obstacle races this year.
There's an edge of fun to those
yes,
as well.
Yeah, and it lets me still lift and run and do everything I like. So.
Oh, we can't wait to hear about what's coming up in the next year. All right, we're almost out of time here, but before we head out, we just want to do a 30-second snapshot. Basically, I'm going to throw questions at you, and then you're going to answer whatever comes into your head, and we'll get a better feel for who you are as a person, as an athlete. Sound good?
Awesome.
All right, ready to go? Time's on the clock. Here we go. First question, what's your favorite workout song?
Depends. Hard workouts, weight room, or hard running workouts. I always have my Pandora on my iPhone. Usually like a Foo Fighters channel or something. I'm older. If it's an easy long run, I'm into Bob Marley, maybe like Lumineers, something like that. So kind of mellow stuff. Yeah.
Favorite exercise?
Right now, the last couple of months, it's actually stair running.
Stair running.
Doing stair intervals with some push-ups and stuff. It's quick and easy, but I change my mind a lot. So ask me next month, it'd be something different.
Yeah. Favorite stretch?
None.
No stretching?
Most research shows it's pointless and may actually lead to more injuries. So there's better ways to loosen up than stretching. There's my medical answer for it.
Favorite workout brand?
Like sports brand?
Yes.
Shoes, Asics, everything else, Nike, I suppose.
Okay. Favorite athlete?
Probably Usain Bolt.
He's a good one.
Yeah.
Fast. There we
Base
go.
my son loves him, so I kind of, yeah.
Go with the flow.
Yes.
Favorite quote?
Paraphrasing, but I always liked one that basically says you can tell a man's health by, how does it go? You can tell a man's health by what he takes two at a time, pills or stairs. I always like that one.
It's true.
So,
Yeah,
I don't know who said it, but yeah.
All right, last one. Favorite Gunz and Bunz episode? I'm just kidding, all of them. We know that was a trick question.
All of them.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today, John.
My pleasure.
It was great to see you. Thank you for all you guys at home. We hope you enjoyed. Stay with us. We'll take a short commercial break, and then we'll be right back in the gym working on some light weights and exercise machines. We'll see you in a minute.
So bored. Dude, let's throw a party.
Man, we always throw parties. What can you do to class it up or make it different?
You got me, the PSTV Genie.
Whoa, the PSTV Genie.
Yo, I'm here to make this party rock.
But dude, I'm not even in my nice party clothes.
By the power of this vest on me, party.
Whoa. Oh, sick. Oh, yeah.
One more thing this party needs is a shower brick.
Touch my tickly wiggly.
Let's get a little weird.
Wait, what?
Yo, now we need some girls,
Yo, I'm sorry, man. I don't do girls.
Dude, I'm not ready for this. Dude.
Nice abs, bro. What?
Dude.
What?
Let's do this.
PSTV, make your dreams come true.
Hi guys, welcome back to the gym. We're in Gunz and Bunz, our workout section. I'm here with Marilyn. We're going to be doing some deltoid exercises today, talking about safety and how you target this important muscle group, both on the machines and light weights. So we're going to start with our anterior deltoids. Anterior deltoids are the muscles in the front of your shoulder. And we're going to start by doing some straight front raises. So nice light raises forward. You see how her palm is facing down towards her leg. Her legs are about shoulder width apart. Elbows are slightly bent, just a little bit so you don't lock it out. And she's gently raising it up to her chest level. Right back down. She's getting this muscle right in here. If she wanted to take it up, do more at the same time, she can do both arms together. There you go. You don't have to keep heavy weights on. They can be light weights, 3, 4, 5 pounds. And see how many sets work for you. Usually we recommend when you start, try doing 10 to 12 repetitions in maybe 3 sets, but work the workout to your strength and build up from there. All right, we good?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, so this exercise is called the chest fly. What it's going to be targeting is your pectoralis major, minors, and your anterior deltoids, which we're talking a lot about today. So in order to do this exercise, you're going to have these positioned outwards, and later we'll do the reverse chest fly, but right now we're going to focus on the front chest fly. So you're going to reach out for these, and you want to bring them in so that they're a comfortable length. You have a little bend in the elbow, so your arms aren't straight out. And what you're going to do is bring them together slowly, or bring them toward, there you go, good. And back. And again. Now when you do these, you should feel it working in here and right in here, the muscles. Also, you're gonna feel a little bit in your arms as well. And make sure that when you bring them back, you're not overextending, because that could cause injury to your shoulders. Also, when you're doing this, make sure you have proper posture, that your shoulder blades are back against this mat. and that you have a nice 90-degree at your hips, so your hips aren't too sunk down or too high up. A couple more. You can extend your arms out a little bit more, just like you're wrapping your arms around somebody. Good. Do you feel it working in here? If you actually have somebody with you, they can feel for you and they'll feel it working right in the muscles. Your interior deltoids being right here on the shoulder. Okay, so this is the reverse fly, which is kind of the opposite of the chest fly. It's going to be working your back. So it's going to be focusing on your posterior deltoids, which are in the back of your shoulder, as well as your trapezius, your rhomboids, and your latissimus dorsi, which go down your back. So to do these, you're going to start actually with your arms together forward instead of to the side, and you're going to pull them back. So give a little pull back. Again, having a little bend in the elbows, you don't want to lock them out. And again, not overextending. And then you're going to bring them back forward. And then back again. You can feel, if you have a partner with you, they can feel your muscles working right here in your posterior deltoid. Bringing it back slowly. Contracting. And then the eccentric phase, lengthening. For this one, again, make sure you have proper posture. Your shoulder blades are back against the mats, and you have that nice 90-degree at your pelvic area. Good job. How does it feel?
Feels good. This one works.
All right. So it's a little bit different feeling from the front chest fly. You're going to notice it feeling right in your posture muscles, right in your back.
So our next exercise, we're looking at working the medial deltoid. That's one of the 3 sections of your deltoid muscle, and it's the one that stretches right over and down the center of your muscle. So we're going to do some lateral raises. You notice how her elbows are lightly bent. As they come out, they're coming out right to shoulder level. Palms are facing in. Her chest is open. Her posture is strong. This is what you'd call level 1 for the lateral raises. She wants to take this up a level. She'll increase her lever length, straightening her arms, and then extending straight out. Same thing, coming to this even shoulder level, keeping her elbows lightly bent, but longer. Do you feel the difference?
Yep.
Lastly, if you want to take this to level 3, we're going to do overhead raises. So she'll bring her arms up about shoulder height, and then gently push up, pushing forward. Her palms are facing forward. She's holding a light grip on those weights. And she's still getting the nice medial head, that upper head of your deltoid right in the center. How's that feel?
Good.
Awesome. Perfect form. All right. All right, on to the last of our 3 sections of our deltoid. We're going to concentrate on the posterior deltoid, the rear deltoid. This muscle is located right here in your back. Oftentimes, this is a neglected part of our deltoid. We tend to work the other head a little bit more, so we really want to get this today. We're going to start out bent over raises. You can see how her knees are lightly bent, feet are shoulder width apart, back is flat. She's leaning forward. Her hands are facing each other, palms are together, lightly gripping that weight. She's going to bend her arms as she brings them out, extending them up. So she's scrunching in those shoulder blades, that back, really targeting these deltoids right in here. Breathing as she does it. Light and gentle. If you want to take this up a level, if you have an incline bench or a flat bench to lie on, if you're actually doing these same raises Marilyn's doing right now, but lying down, you're targeting those deltoids, the posterior deltoids, even further. So this is a great workout as well. So listen to your body. Make sure you get a balance. Incorporate all exercises that target each of the 3 deltoids into one workout, and we'll be set. All right, awesome. All right, so great workout today, guys. We really got those deltoids. We hit all 3 of them, keeping a nice balanced workout. But before we head out of the gym, we want to do one more thing. We want to stretch. So we're going to concentrate. This stretch is mainly going to get our medial deltoid, but still, it's going to sort of get all of them. So what you're going to do is you're going to cross your arm right across that chest, pulling it in nice and lightly, keeping that arm flat out to the side, and holding it there. You can see how Marilyn's holding at your wrist. I'm holding up by my elbow. Whichever you prefer, you're still getting that nice even stretch. Bringing that down, taking it on the other side, because what we do to one side of our body, we do the other, trying to create balance. And then we're all set. Thanks so much for joining us in the gym today. We hope you had fun. Try to incorporate these exercises into your coming workout, and we'll see you next week in our gym section of Gunz and Bunz. I'm Maura, this is Marilyn, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
chest play.